everyone, and welcome to Strykerz Quest, the quest for the greatest martial art warrior. My name is Sadabe Moaidi, and today I'm joined by my father, Master Mirdad Khan Moaidi. And in today's show, we're going to discuss not only his journey, but the evolution of martial arts to become kind of what we know it as today. We'll also be discussing, for the viewers who are watching, what to look for when you might want to start martial arts, what to avoid, what's a good sign of a good martial art dojo and a good master. So I guess what we'd really like to start with is your own journey. I know you've been doing this your entire life. I've heard the stories that you were a pretty wild and crazy kid, and that martial arts helped you kind of get out some pent-up energy and give you a good base in life.
Yes. I grew up in a family of 6. My mother has 6 kids. I think this was a destined for me to do. It's not something that you find out later on in life. I was always very physically active, had a tremendous amount of passion. I look at what people call it martial art today, I look at it as a scientific element, because you always know somebody faster or stronger than you. What can I beat everybody at their own game? And my era, we were very blessed. I was born in 1965, and in our time, you had a star like Bruce Lee, greatest boxer like Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier. But children today don't have that kind of an icon in their life. They had purpose, more than just fighting or martial art. They had a purpose that they were going on with. So it was completely different element. And again, as a child, I was very wild, crazy, full of energy. And you see today, there's a lot of kids with a lot of energy, and parents don't know what to do. They want to go to a doctor, give them medication. We work with that every day. I think martial art is the greatest way to teach someone to channel their energy in a positive way. There's nothing wrong with somebody have a lot of energy. I think that's healthy.
Yeah.
You just have to channel the energy in a positive way. I was very athletic as a kid. Boxing was my biggest favorite, believe it or not, and wrestlings. And European football, they call it here soccer. That was my biggest passion. There was a time that I would say maybe I was 7, 9, I don't know exactly. My brother took my attention and wanted me to take me somewhere. And then you turn the clock back a little bit. I was 4 years old when my mother passed away. I didn't know that. And in my cultures, when you're in that age, usually to protect children, to their perspective, nothing wrong. I don't blame nobody. They want to protect you, and they don't want to, they think you're too early for it, which I think today you have to be exposed to that and understand it. But I had a wonderful brother, sister. I love them dearly, and there was a lot of love there. But I believe, I don't remember exactly what age, I would say maybe between 7 and 10. My brother took me to, he said, I want to show you something. My oldest brother, Masood, who was my hero, icon. Everything that I know today is his way of showing me. Took me to a graveyard, and then we went to a tomb that where my mother buried. I didn't know that at times. He didn't say a word, just we sit there and we start praying. And I read on stone, and it was my mother. I didn't show my emotion. I was very angry. But I knew that he had his own purpose. Someone has to reveal it, because I was known always as a child that because of your mom's sickness, had to go to the hospital, and my mother died in London when I was 4 years old. And but anyway, long story short, I began to find that, and I was very angry.
Where my mother graveyard is, this is where I used to go, and I used to sleep, and I used to rest here. This was my prayer area. I used to come and sleep here. This was my mother graveyard. And there was only one here. There was only one here. Now everybody else is here. But this was my place. I used to come and pray and meditate and pray for my futures. This is where I used to come pray for my futures. Last time I was here was 30 years ago. And I used to come pray.
So, boxing, martial art, wrestling, that was my best friend. Kind of isolate myself in life. I grew up as very, even though family was a big number in our family, I grew up as a child. That was very big. Loneliness was my best friend. I used to spend hours on heavy sandbag. I used to train like there was no tomorrow. Every day I remember I used to come up with ideas for training. Believe it or not, that you think people will coming up with the idea. Ankle weight. I used to wrap ankle weight around my ankle. I trained with those. And I wasn't even 11 years old back then. I had a book, and I used to write in the book my training regimen, what it is in the morning, what it is when I get off of school. And I remember I used to ask my father, can you wake me up at 4 a.m.? And he used to wake me up at 4 a.m. He said, what do you want to do? I said, I want to work out so before I go to the class at 8. So 4 a.m., I used to wake up in the morning. I used to train hard. I remember bare feet. Nobody taught me this thing. I think this was a past life experience. The energy, I had a very powerful psychic power. I used to go on a ceramic floor, bare feet. I used to jump rope. Like it was endless. You know, there was no 3 minutes time or this. I used to go 25 minutes. That was like yesterday. We used to push up training, or we had a soccer field, football field, and I used to go run there. And then come home, back in my days, and all fresh off the farm, my dad, we had a fresh milk, fresh eggs and honey, all natural. Nothing is to put it in the milk, stir it, pop it in, drink it, and go to school. And I would become so good at it. And even in school, we had a phys ed class. I remember my principal, my teacher used to tell me that
It's probably a lot more intense than phys ed is these days.
very intense. It's not like here. It's not a joke. Everything in my time, in my world, you have to have a knowledge before you call yourself a teacher. If you don't have knowledge, years of experience, you cannot touch that. It's not something you go spend 3 hours or 3 days or 2 months, you license. I was an assistant, so I was a kid, I was in elementary, I remember. My principal says, Mirdad, you're very good. You teach the entire flexibility class, all this is sprinting, all of that's yours. Before I come and do the rest. And we used to do that every day, 5 days a week, train. And then I used to do all my homework in the class, homework. Back then, we had real homework. We had books we had to read. It's not like now. And did all my stuff. And around 2:30, we finished, and I was getting ready, walk and get my bus, go to the city, and go and do my training. I train around by the time I get to my workout would be around 3, 4 o'clock. I was the first person to walk in there. We finished around 10:30 our training.
So you spent a lot of time then, it seems like, either in school or training.
24/7. I remember my teacher was trying to get me for a competition. And I record that when I went back after 31 years to Iran. My friend says, you testify that. And he said exactly like that. We probably will push that on a video later on. When she said, I said, what's your weight? I want to get you to fight, and this is the weight you need to be. I said, well, I work out in the morning, and I work out with the school, and I work out here. I work out 3, 4 times a day. I love training. This is my passion. He said, you're crazy. You cannot train like that. You got to give up this. You got to give up this. You have to size up. And as I said, I rode. As I said, I'm very proud of my age. I'm 52, but this is a long time ago. This is in 70s, early 70s. I had a book. I used to write down in my book, these are my workout in the morning. These are what I do at night. 6 days a week training, 7 days a week training, and eat good food. Everything was available. That was our life. That was my life. I choose as a child that one day I wanted to become greatest of what I do, without any competition to anybody. And I had so many great role models. I was so fascinated with movies like Bruce Lee, and we watch all of those in the big theater, and all the great things.
And
Muhammad
he was
Ali, yes.
your main role model for martial arts, Bruce Lee, because he was very big at that time, correct?
Yes. He died in 1973. Bruce Lee was very big at that time. And it was my big role model. And my brother was another big role model. I had a lot of great role models in my life. I was very fortunate. And I choose to protect my body. My body was my temple. And to fulfill my brain with full of great knowledge about martial art and human body and health. And as I said, nobody taught me. A lot of things, it's like past life experience, or something back in my head was telling me. I remember I used to cut the side of the sheet and wrap my hand, so it turned out to a hand wrap. Mm-hmm. And we used to work on a sandbag. I saw it originally. My brother, oldest brother Masood, used to work with a sandbag so hard. His knuckle was like crazy when you look at his knuckle. And I've become passionate, and I have so many great role models. So this was my passion, my follow in life, and in 1984, when the 79, when the revolution started in our country and changed the country. In 84, when I left my country, I traveled all over Asia, Middle East, and Europe. I still train hard. You're my daughter, you see me every day. Today, how did it change? Still train hard.
Yeah.
And I just love it. I don't see anything can stop me except death. That's my biggest passion in life. I don't believe you grow old, because spirit never grow old. What keep you stay young and rejuvenated and evolve and constantly learn is your spirit. Your body is just a vehicle in this life, continue to go forward. But people don't understand, spirit never grow old. You can be young as long as you want it to be. I give you another example so we don't have a big distraction. My father was big into farming, and I took me to the top of the mountain, and I saw these guy was in the top of the mountain, top of the tree, cutting trees down. And I told my father, how old is this guy? And said, you know how old this guy is? He's 75 years old. I said, he looks like a 20-year-old. He said, 75-year-old. He's climbing this tree to the top, cutting these leaves of the tree so the cow can eat these things. We call it here morango. They can eat these so they can produce more milk. I never forget that. And these things stay in my head. It's good food, good life, good air to breathe. That was the example. And I believe that it's more than physical. It's mental, the spiritual stuff. So, I originally, my background, because being from Iran, wrestling is our mother sports. People talk about grappling, martial art, different things, where it come from, but I don't know, somehow the history got wiped away. People don't understand. You got to go further back, buddy. India, Persia, Egypt, those part of the world, you need to look where the real martial art, real combative martial art start from. And I was fortunate. That's the life that I lived, and I don't regret any minute of it. As a child, when I was 5 years old, 6 years old, I always had a dream come to America. Not too much for an American dream, that what people say is my dream. It's mainly knew it that spiritually I had a destination, place that I need to go. And when things changed in our country back in 79 and 80s, it pushed me to go to that direction, because there was no future for me at that time to live in Iran. And I gained a great experience. So,
do you think if that hadn't happened, the revolution in Iran, you would have stayed in Iran?
Probably I would have traveled to different part of the world or come here, and maybe I'd reach out to some of my success that I'm thriving for still faster to get there. My life would be a better situation. But I don't think I will gain the experience that I have today. I would have had it at that time. Mm-hmm. I had an excellent experience because I had to live a very hard life. I went through a lot of tough times. Yeah. I had not had an easy life. I came to this country, only had $140 in my pocket, 1991. And look at what I have today, and look at what I have achieved today. It's not easy. I've been around the world, and I appreciate any of it. I have met many great people, and I owe that to great martial art training. My martial art taught me to choose between good and bad, and be able proudly to say no to things that has destroyed my life. And I owe that to martial art, because martial art taught me self-discipline. I didn't train martial art just to become a black belt. I trained martial art for eternity. I don't like what I see today. Everybody talks about martial art when to be a black belt. I don't like to see, you see little kids walking around, 8-year-old, probably still have a diaper on, but he has a black belt.
Yeah.
And I think martial art is a way of life. You have to teach that to people. It's the only art, it's only discipline that you can do it until the day you're 90 years old, 100 years old. Other sports.
That is one thing I like about it, because with martial arts, there's no season like you have football, soccer, things like that. It's literally just, it's this very long journey that you're on, and there's real no end destination, which I think it's very welcoming to people of all ages and no matter what stage in their life.
Well, sports is beautiful. I mean, I love sport. I play, I love soccer. I don't know what we call it soccer. We call it football, but you live in America, you got to call it soccer. But the world call it football. But I love football, but for audience, when we connect with the audience, we call it soccer. So everybody understands what I'm talking about. I play that religiously. I'm very good at it. I lived in Holland 1986. I had friends who says, man, let's go to Ajax, play for that. You're so good. I was forward, fast, could kick outside of 18 yards. You know, my area again, you grew up with the greatest players, Diego Maradona, and a lot of great players. You know, we had a lot of good athletes, true athletes. But I saw it when the sports, you see a player become 31 years old, they call him old, and they have no respect for the person. I see that everything has an ending. In the martial art, you hit 45, it's your prime.
Yeah, there's no ending.
It's your prime.
Yeah.
When you're 45, you're in prime. I can fight better now at the age of 52 when I was age of 18. I have so much experience. I see things before it even happen. It's a lot of psychology. So I look at things in a whole different perspective. So I could have gone very far in the sports, in swimming and tracks, volleyball, soccer, but I choose martial art because martial art taught me. Traditional martial art. When you learn traditional martial art, you learn everything. How many kids in our class we taught martial art that they went become a greatest gymnast because of our martial art training? How many martial artists we taught that they went on become a greatest fighter? It's the way we taught. I teach traditional martial art. I teach my way, my system, what I believe it works. So that's my perspective about martial art, my journey into the martial art. Of course, we can sit here talk for days. But martial art is the most powerful things that you can give that to someone as a gift. So that's why I give it to you, all my girls. And one day they look back, they see the value and benefit of it.
I did want to touch on quickly your grandmaster, who he seems very important in your martial art training. You know, we have his pictures in the gym. You talk about him often. I did want to ask the story about how you came to train under him, because that's not something that you really talk about a lot.
Prince Sukpak was like a father figure to me. He was very special. I never forget, I heard about him when I lived in Europe. If you go to Canada, this is the person you need to go train with. And when I came to Toronto, 1987, I seek for him. And when I find him, it was funny, we went to play a pool table, you know, because I used to play that a lot in Holland. And I saw I still have his flyers. You see his flyer there. And I said, that's the teacher I was supposed to train with. And I was training with other teachers as well. There was a lot of good teachers in Toronto. Unlike here in Florida, there's a lot of commercials. So I went to him, and when he saw I was writing my name and my date of birth, I don't forget that. And the way I signed, he said, you are a special kid. There's a connection here. And then I told him that I knew off of him in Europe, and I was looking for him. Everything was connection. I trained with him. Training was for me, if somebody said train hard, I train hard. You know, I never complained. I pushed my body, my mind. I was there every day. I remember, if anybody knows Toronto, I lived downtown Toronto, ride the subway, go all the way to Finch, and on the way back, there's no train. You get the bus, and cold winter, so but I train every day. I trained with a couple of good grandmasters there, but Grandmaster Sukpak was a father figure. He respect me. He respect my background. He respect that I've trained martial art. He didn't say this bad, that's bad. He welcomed me and he taught me, and when he encouraged me, when he introduced me to others, is he shared my knowledge in a path. That's what I respect about him, because he knew that was real, and that was a lot of value to me, and I honor them, to understand that culture, the Asian cultures, and very close to Persian cultures. A lot of people don't know about Persian cultures. So we connect, and he was a great teacher. He was like a father figure to me. When I lost my father in 1994, he said to me, now you have a new father. So we're very connected. His death in 1995 was very hard for me, and it was very special. But he taught me a lot of great things. And my knowledge, he completed my martial art. I owe everything that I've done under him, and continue express my feelings, my opinion, and share my knowledge to him. He taught me a lot of great things.
That's good. That's good.
I was always an active child and like to train, be very active. I trained martial arts at a very young age and followed that throughout my life. So martial art and training, it was something that was a big element to me. That was my shelter. That was my best friend.
Speed and power is my belief, quick. And the speed is all about no thinking, it's all timing. It's feeling, quick, And one of my best punches that drop everybody is to the body like this. Boom, take the legs.
I was very blessed and honored trained under a lot of different grandmasters, because that's not something that it comes very easy. I was searched for the great knowledge and great trainings, and what it taught me is to understand there's more deeper element behind just to become a fighter. If fighting is not only step in a ring and fight a different person, but also you're facing your fear, you're facing that different element of life.
So there's many different types of disciplines with the martial arts. How did you choose your disciplines that you really wanted to focus on and ultimately teach?
I'll tell you what works for me. It's the connection. Everybody have to have connection. As I said, you have to respect all martial arts. They all have equality. As I said, as a child, my connection, I love striking. Even though I come from a wrestling background, grappling background, I was very good at it. And boxing, striking, it was my passion. I can use my legs better than my hands, use my hands better than my legs. I can kick people so many different ways. I never fear anybody. So I find my connection, fall in love with Bruce Lee, fall in love with Muhammad Ali, and that was my passion. My brother was involved with it. I watched him do it. We used to joke together, so Kung Fu and martial art was my passion. As I got into it more, I can evolve it and explore more. I look at myself, I don't know, some people believe it or not, it's a past life experience as a warrior, done it many times, and follow it in this lifetime for a different purpose. And my advice to anybody, look for connection with your teacher. It doesn't matter what style it is, they're all good. If you want to do a little judo grappling and jiu-jitsu grappling, they're all beautiful. You find your connection with your teacher. Don't choose art because this is better than this is better than this. That's what people have been taught.
Yeah.
In a world of mixed martial art today, we talk about it in later on different episodes about mixed martial art today whatsoever. I don't want to touch into that. It gives a lot of wrong message to people. They're all beautiful, they're all great, because they're all about you. You're discovering you, you're finding yourself, you're bettering yourself. It's all about self-empowerment.
Finding your strengths, yeah.
That's it. The real warrior, if you're doing it because you want to learn self-defense for street, you make that choices. So everything's about yourself. So I choose my art because I had a passion and I had a role model, and I continue to make that perfect. And eventually I had enough credibility, trained with many great grandmasters, the one that I talked in early stage, Grandmaster in Pak, one of them. I created my own system, Shindu Kumite. There's a fighting part of it, there's a martial art part of it, which we talk about later on. What do you mean? Martial art, fighting, martial art, with philosophy. So different aspects. So that's the way I choose. That's the way I educate you guys.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I educate all my students. So
I don't think we ever really talked about it a lot, like growing up. Like Shanaz and I didn't have much of a choice training because you were always like, you're going to learn, you need to learn. And as kids, definitely we didn't appreciate it maybe as much as we should have because we were kids. We wanted to go out and play with our friends. But growing up, I definitely saw the importance of you saying, well, you have to learn this. You have to study and you have to train and you have to be able to be strong. But between Muay Thai and Hapkido, learning those two, I definitely always pushed more to the Hapkido side because I was very passive, I was calm, I was quiet. Muay Thai was very aggressive, it was tough, you had to hit really strong, and I just wasn't super aggressive. I liked the Hapkido because it was the closest I could ever get to actually dancing. Because we know I can't dance. But I loved the forms. I loved all of that stuff. The beauty of it, the flow of it,
Well, everybody different. Some people like
Exactly.
the grace, and some people like to be passive, and that's beauty, and
But
there's nothing wrong with that.
it definitely goes on. You have to find what you like because I appreciate Muay Thai. I'm good at that. I can punch and kick just as well as the rest of them. But you're not going to see me in the ring, fighting professionally or not, because that's just not what my calling was. I definitely think my calling was definitely more on the Hapkido side.
Yeah, but you did great.
I did really good.
You
I did great.
Even though I pushed you to it, I wanted you to get on the edge, and being in the ring, competing, you have one upper hand than most people
You
in
do.
your age today that
You do.
you know what it is. So
Like, I'm definitely, if it ever comes to it, I'm definitely not going to be scared to have to throw a punch or anything. I understand what it meant to be hit, but I definitely kind of get it. You have to find
Yeah.
what you like and what's the most comfortable for you and is going to make you happy. Because if you're doing something and you don't want to go into the gym and train, well, why are you doing that discipline? You obviously don't like it. So you have to find what makes you happy and makes you want to get in the gym and train.
yeah, all of this video that I'm making is all about the life of the martial art. I think there's a lack of knowledge out there that people need to see a lot of these videos. I appreciate my student helped me to do this. I appreciate you to be here. I think this is very important. Knowledge is very important. Knowledge is something that nobody can steal from you. And my job is to pass along my knowledge to a lot of people and to educate people what is right, what is wrong, and how do you discover the right things. I think a lot of people like us have to show that. So that's one of the biggest reasons I created this channel, to show that. And we're going to tap into on different episodes about different things, about fighting and fitness, yoga, qigong, and that's the more internal and soft side of the martial art. A lot of passion for that, and how that works in my life and what it done for me. And if you just punching Master Mehrdad on YouTube or Google, you see a lot of things about us. But it's important for us to share this knowledge, to educate people what they need to know. And I, as a child, grew up, had so many great icon role models. When you ask a little kid, who's your role models? They have to think a little bit. I don't have that time to think. I make it right away quick. So it's just different areas. We need a lot of good things.
So over the course of my training, I definitely feel like now within the past 3 years, martial arts is more of like a fad. kind of like a lot what you see with those fitness routines, diet routines, martial arts turning into a fad more so than a way of life. Do you feel like because of that, martial arts is slowly just going to kind of fade out and be one of those ancient sports that no one really does anymore? Or do you think there might be this resurgence going back to, you know, the old ways where martial arts was a way of life? It was this journey you go on and not just get the black belt and then be done with it.
Well, unfortunately, the world going that direction. Education go in that direction. But as long as you have people like me or yourself keep preaching different things, and thanks to social media, you can make a video like that and put it out there. I'm here to engage with my audience, to tell them what to look for. I'm still learning. I'm still a beginner. So I don't think martial art is going to be the fad. Maybe people will try to make it the way it is now, but I don't think martial art become a fad. I can tell you, even in today's time, you go back home to my country, Iran, martial art, very intense training, or some part of the world. There are great teachers out there in the world that is still preaching the right thing. Maybe in North America, because if you're going to do this as a living, you have to make money and survive and support your family, so you become commercialized. It's not for me to make a judgment about people. That's their choice. But it's our job is to educate our viewer, our audience, through social media, to making these videos, to connecting with people, letting them know what you need to look for. There are people who live here. I have a lot of great friends out west in California. They always call me, talk to me, and talks about martial arts. So I'm still doing it. I still have a passion for it. I want to write many books and make a lot of these videos. I encourage people to subscribe to our channel and follow us. I want to share my knowledge. I don't want to limit myself just for hand down to people. I want to share my knowledge to the world. So maybe in the sports you see a lot of that fat, but not in martial art, because you have to go back to originality. You know, I believe always history will repeat itself. In 1991, when I came to the United States, I started teaching traditional martial art. And a lot of people told me, you know, you live in America, you have to make it a little bit different. People are not going to train like that. They're not like you or me or somebody else. I made some adjustment, but I never changed. But look at today, and you're a witness yourself. I have people come from all over. I have people travel from out of state. They come here, train with me, and go. I'm very successful. I have a good reputation. I have great people. So that connection exists. So I think martial art always stay original. And there are people out there, open business, but I think there is enough knowledge out there that people can make a choice to what is right or wrong. You might be able to fake people with their fitness or sports. I don't really waste my time with that, because when you train a real martial art or train real Muay Thai,
You get everything.
you have it all. You don't need to train, go do kettlebell weight training. That's does it all for you. Work your entire body. That's the ultimate workout. You can defend yourself. You can build your mind. It's a lot of different qualities.
Yeah, I agree.